What's going on, everyone? In today's Mexican pasta recipe, I'm going to show you how to roll your own noodles and combine it with a freshly roasted Poblano salsa. If you're new here, welcome to Mexican Cooking Academy, where we celebrate Mexican food, culture, and cuisine. In the last 4 years, I developed an intense passion for Mexican food culture. And in September 2020, I decided to make a move from California down to Mexico and share that passion with the rest of the world. And that's what we are doing today. Today we are making Mexican pasta recipe with hand-rolled pasta dough. All of this bathed in luscious Poblano pepper salsa. This particular pasta is really easy to do. It takes 10 to 15 minutes of actual work. You don't need a pasta machine. You don't need any special gadgets, just your hands, and you're ready to roll. The actual pasta itself is called pici. And like so many other wonderful foods, it comes to us from Italy, from Tuscany actually. It's shaped just like spaghetti, except it's a lot thicker than spaghetti. It's somewhere between the thickness of a spaghetti and a number 2 pencil, and slightly less than a number 2 pencil. So you're looking at that kind of a range there. For this recipe, you're going to need 70 grams of semolina flour, 70 grams of white flour, and 70 milliliters of water, as well as 1 cup of fresh Poblano pepper salsa. As always, you'll find this recipe down in the description below. While you're there, hit the comment section, leave me a comment and let me know what is your favorite Mexican dish, and also hit that like button and subscribe button. It's really gonna help me out a lot. Now we begin by measuring out our flour first, and if you can see this little tail moving around, that's a little kitten that I got a little bit ago. So here he is making a cameo appearance here and destroying everything in the kitchen, aren't you? His name is Chase. If you want to follow him, his name is gato.chase on Instagram. I'll put a link down in the description or in the video here. But yeah, the cute little kitten, and he's a big rascal. So let's get him down on the floor so he stops interfering with this pasta recipe here. Okay, so where was I? Yes, we want to combine both our flours together. So we want our semolina flour, we want our white flour, and for white flour, we're using a double O rated flour, which is very high in protein and gluten, and that's what we really want here. Combine these 2 flours with water. We knead it for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we're gonna let it rest for about 5 minutes. That's gonna let the dough rehydrate and get all that flour properly hydrated so that we can continue mixing. After it's had a little bit of a rest, we want to start our main kneading process. This takes about 5 minutes of kneading, and this is helping develop the gluten that's in the flour, and that's gonna give it a lot of strength when we finally roll it out. Now the next step here is to let the dough rest for 30 minutes. So we're gonna cover it either in a Ziploc bag or a cellophane wrap, and we're gonna let it rest for 30 minutes. And this is a really important step, because what that's allowing to happen is the gluten strands are relaxing inside the dough, and once they relax, they become a lot easier to roll out. So we're gonna set it aside for 30 minutes and we're gonna come back to it. So after 30 minutes, we check on our dough and we can flatten it out with our palm a little bit. That's gonna flatten it out. We can cut it into small pieces, lengthwise, like what I'm doing here. And then we can further roll these out with our hands. One by one, take each piece and stretch it out on the work surface. Spread your fingers as the dough stretches to maximize the surface area and allow the dough to stretch even further. Do this for all the pieces of dough, and with each piece, you're probably gonna wanna cut it in half to make it more manageable to eat later on. Finally, bring a pot of salted water up to a boil. You want it to be very salty. General rule of thumb is you want it to be as salty as you remember the ocean being salty. So pretty salty, but the reason is that maybe less than 5% of all that salt is actually gonna make its way into the salsa, and that's the only way we're really seasoning it. So make sure the water is heavily salted. We're cooking this pasta for about 2 to 3 minutes. Once it's boiling, after it's boiled for 2 or 3 minutes, we take out the salsa. We want to save about 1 to 2 cups of this water. Always save your pasta water, because what you want to do, and I'll show you right here, is we're gonna add this pasta back into the pot here. We add in our salsa, and then we add in about the same amount of that cooking pasta water as well. The reason we do this is to thin out the salsa a little bit And also we're gonna let this cook for another 3 to 5 minutes while the salsa is absorbed by the pasta and the water evaporates. That's gonna create a really nice luscious salsa and pasta for us. Finally, serve this salsa in a large bowl. You can add additional butter here or olive oil, whatever is your preference. I love serving this with good crusty bread. I think it goes really well with that. So if you have some on hand, or if you're gonna go to do a grocery run, definitely make sure to pick up some crusty bread to go with this recipe. That's really all there is to it. You got yourself a perfectly luscious Mexican handmade pasta. You can serve it just as it is. It's a perfectly great dish all on its own. Or you can serve it with a cut of meat, and I'll have some recipes here on my channel that could complement that dish, so make sure to check those out. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and if you did, you'll find all the ingredients for this recipe down below in the description. And while you're there, hit that thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. Let me know down in the comments your favorite dish, and also let me know what your spice tolerance level is so I can adjust my recipes to you, my audience. That's all I got for you today. Until next time, live long and prosper.